Well, hello again. Many of you have been practicing in some form or another with the concept of each one of these colors being a different hour or 2 hour set or month or week. You're looking at these colors. I'd like to share with you another way to perceive it and how you might be aware of how to use it a little better. The concept I'd like to share with you, which is just a metaphor, is the concept of a cup. This is what I'm calling a cup. It's actually maybe technically a bowl, but I kind of like the idea it's a cup. Now for me, every 2 hours, there is a cup going by. Takes about 2 hours for that cup to go by. But the interesting thing about this is the cup is upside down. It's going by and nothing much is happening because, well, it's ignored. But if I recognize the 2 hour period going by, and I open up my cup, I intend to provide a space for me to feel, touch, feel this part of me as a cup, well, from a cup to a cup. So if I have this red line here, which by the way corresponds to sunrise. So you know what sunrise feels like. By the age of 28, you've done it more than 10,000 times. You've had sunrise. Now sunrise goes by and most people, they notice it, but there is a life-giving, nurturing force that we are familiar with. Now, inside me, there is a corresponding place, like sunrise, that I can open up my cup by intention and practice the experience of what's being provided to help me learn to access the part of me that is a skill set like sunrise. There is a skill set here. You can call it personal passion. You can call it life. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's a vital force of movement or, well, success. That's a fire. It's a kind of a fire. Now, for most people, that cup is upside down. And every time it goes by, a little bit of something becomes more dense. The opportunity's lost. It's been ignored or denied. I'm saying it's possible to turn the cup up. It only takes a few seconds, maybe 5-10 seconds, to desire to want to feel this cup and feel that moment. Now you can do it with joy, laughter, celebration. You can do anything you want into the cup. I'm just appreciative that nature provides a perfect sequence for how to feel the cups. Yes, I said plural, cups. So if I start at the very beginning, the one on this side, the blue, that corresponds to the first month of autumn. It also corresponds to the 2 hours after sunset. Now, my cup is going by, but if I acknowledge and desire to feel the first 2 hours of sunset and acknowledge that's also the first month of autumn, some very interesting things begin to happen. Not only do I turn my cup up, but I start to access what has been stored inside the cup. Now, what's stored inside the cup is a whole bunch of sociological, genetic, family, well, a whole bunch of other feelings are inside the cup. If I leave the cup upside down, those feelings just continue and they create physical conditions, they create addictions, they provoke, they arouse, they attack, they condemn. Unresolved feelings in the cup, well, they're what's common to all of us. We have feelings inside of us. Now, the interesting thing about this very first cup is it corresponds to, in our family tree pattern, it corresponds to your mother's mother. I know that's a little odd, but the reality is, I'll try this the easiest I can, you are emotionally affected by your mother. Okay, that's obvious. You were gestated inside of her biochemically. You were inside of her for 9 months, inside of her water. Afterwards, breast milk, feeding, nurturing. Yes, you were very deeply influenced by your relationship to your mother. Now, I'm saying that this very first cup has to do with your mother's mother. Now, why is that? Well, for me, your mother is somewhat of the biochemical genetic gate, but your own mother was gestated by her mother. Yes, that's obvious, right? But I'm saying that the cup that you want to access is your mother's mother. Now, the problem is the immediate difficulty you have is whatever your personal memories are about your mother. And your own mother has feelings about you, and your own mother has feelings about, you guessed it, her mother. So your mother has a relationship to you, and your grandmother, well, I know it sounds complicated, but no, it isn't. It's a reality about cups. Now, if you really want to use that very first cup, now this very first cup, by the way, is responsible for opening all of the cups. Jeez. So this very first cup is the cup that enables you to feel. It opens the gate into feeling. So mother's mother opens a gate into feeling. Different from mother's father, that has the capacity to open the gate into the intellect. So mother's mother is the primary instrument to help you open your own feelings. Shoot, that's a lot. So the moment that you start to go into the first month of autumn, or you focus on the 2 hours of sunset, or you have a desire to want to feel yourself, you have to go through the gauntlet of your mother and your grandmother. And oh, by the way, you are not your mother, and you're not your grandmother. They are providing the instruments for your incarnation and your capacity to feel. Now, here's the other challenge. You can see how your mother's mother is a deeper experience than your mother because, well, she was the woman that gave her existence into the physical world. Now, the grandmother, well, she already has a mother. And guess what? I'm saying that the great-grandmother actually is another cup. There's one cup from your grandmother, another cup from your great-grandmother. Now, interesting enough, it stops there in the genetic line directly back, but we'll get to another one in a moment. I'm saying there is a importance in this first cup because that's you becoming you. And the second cup is a very interesting instrument. It shows you how to clean the first cup. So you may have this one, your beginning experience of feelings, but then you have another one, and they're contained together and they're designed to work together, but they do not work together if they're upside down. I'm suggesting that you can take time to turn the first one up, and it will move along depending on how sincere you are. It will last 3 or 4 hours, and it will turn back over. You will not lose the amount of time that you put into it if you only did it once, because it remembers everything. It's a memory process related to your capacity to feel and the capacity for your soul to remember, but we won't go into the details. It goes by. Now, if during that time you do it more than once, it lasts longer. But later on, when this other one comes in, if you turn this one up to feel, and this other one is your sincere desire to want to open your heart. Okay, you're going to have to check the words on a sincere desire to want to open your heart for the purpose of changing what you already have. So your great-grandmother is the instrument that helps you clean your own feelings. Yes, all of those physical symptoms that you want to complain about, they're accessed through these two ancestral memories that are actually representations of your skill set. The first one, the capacity to feel. Remember that first cup? That's mother's mother. And then she comes along and is enveloped by a slightly larger cup, which is the ability to change, or if you want to use the trick word, it's called forgive or let go. These are cups going by. When you open them up, now they last for longer. If you open two of them together, might last 24 to 36 hours. Now, the very cool thing is these two cups are connected to a third cup. No, that's not just your mother, because she's there too. She's there automatically, and she won't ever be gone for the rest of your life. Sorry about that. But her influences will remain. You have to eventually detach yourself from her influences that are unloving by transforming those feelings inside you. But there is a very interesting third cup, bigger than the other two. You almost can't see it, but it's there because it is very invisible in some form. That third cup corresponds to the third grandmother on your mother's side of the family. Your mother's mother, the blue one, that's the capacity to feel. Mother's mother's mother, that's the capacity to transform or change. Eventually, that is to receive. Same thing as change, right? The third one, the clearer one, the whitish bowl, is mother's father's mother. I'll go through that again. Your mother's father's mother. She corresponds to, by the way, the skin. Not just the skin of the body, the skin of the soul. Very important relationship to have with this great-grandmother. Now, your mother's mother married, obviously, your mother's father. Your mother's father, his mother is this one. We call her number 6. There are 6 women. Number 2 is the first one. Number 4 is the second one. Number 6 is the third one. This one, by the way, is the mother-in-law of mother's mother. She married mother's father. His mother, the mother-in-law, was number 6. So whatever the relationship dynamics between those two opposite families is actually linked together or not by the relationship that mother's mother has with her mother-in-law, mother's father's mother. Shoot, now I know that's a lot. I get it. Takes me times I have to stop and practice and go, Now, where is that again? What's that really feel like? I have to feel that. Feelings come and I have to pause, right? Or not. 3 cups. 3 cups going by. Turn them over. Now, if I do all 3 of them during their own particular hour, 2 hours at sunset, between 6 and 8 in the evening, roughly, because it changes slightly, depending on the season of the year. 8 to 10 is the second one, mother's mother's mother, the changeable. And then the last one, 10 to 12 midnight, is this last grandmother. So to unify all 3 of these, where all 3 cups are up and moving by, is I have a sincere desire to want to feel them, and a sincere desire for them to have a loving, dynamic relationship to each other. Yes, my mother to me is helpful. My mother to her own mother is the beginning, and my grandmother's relationship to her daughter, my mother, and so on and so on. This is a sequence of separations that I can choose to go past. I'm saying when a cup is upside down and not available to the experience of growth or the receiving of feelings, it separates itself from the other ones. So if I have 2 of these going by and they're not actually cooperating with each other, that's normal. No one has all their cups up and open and cooperative with all the other cups. These are the functions of duality and separation. In order to turn one over, I have to have a sincere desire to want to feel, ideally for the intended purpose of wanting to feel and grow. To feel and grow, I need to feel and change. So now I have 2. Now, if I really want the other one, I just simply relate to the invisible, something beyond the mind. I know that's odd, but relating to something invisible is your choice. Invisible might mean, do you believe in a guardian angel? Do you believe in a higher self, true self, divine self, spark source, whatever you want to call it? Do you really want to have the influence of a higher experience of something, by whatever definition you want to give it, to influence this cup, to guide this cup, and to guide the movement of these cups? Do you want to keep all 3 of them moving and open? I'm suggesting to you that yes, you can do that 1 month at a time. It takes about 30 days, 4 weeks, to open up the capacity the first time to experience that one. The first one of feeling. Then another month to feel and connect it to the second grandmother. And then another month to connect those 2 to the third one. After 3 months, these will be more accessible and available than they ever were before. They may not be perfectly up all the time, depending on how well you did it, but by the 4th month, by the time you complete the 4th month, these 3 will now be operating for the first time as a unit. Now, you might remember some of the graphics that looks like this. We talked about the protocol. The protocol takes cup number 1, the blue ball, and you bring your attention to the blue ball, which is your sincere desire to feel your own heart. Or, if you want, it's a sincere desire to feel the bottom of your heart as a cup. The sincere desire to want to feel. That's the blue cup. Then the pink one has to do with the experience of letting go, change. Now, the colors that I have in the cups, they're incidental. I call the first one blue, but you can, in this case, it's a white one. The color is whatever you want it to be. I'm just showing you how the cups work. So you can give them whatever color you want. But to hold that feeling with a sense of a tactileness, now what I like about the cups that's better than the balls is the balls look like they're closed. Cups are not. That feels more comfortable to me, but this is an intellectual diagram, and these have 3 scales of magnitude. First, self. Second, others. Third, all. Self, others, and all. 3 magnitudes of cups. I'm suggesting that you experience it directly in front of you. Now, why this is important is that in order to go through the sequence, these 3 cups need to be acknowledged and felt and utilized and mobilized. So if you look at something like this is the same sequence. This is the very first cup, and the second cup, and the third cup, and the fourth cup. Now, those in the dark part of this graphics is from the mother's side, oftentimes called the yin. This is the darker, the cool, the feminine, or the inside. Those in the upper light side, they're from the father's family, or the outer manifestation of what's on the inside. So the inside feeds the outside, the inside feeds the outside, and back again. Because this pattern here actually comes down, and this creates a loop. And it just happens to be a figure 8, but that's another day we can describe how that loop works. But this is a cup. Cup number 1. I learn to feel that cup. And then if I have a trigger of something coming around me, rather than pushing it away, I want to bring that feeling, show me the truth of what's inside me that brings this triggered reaction socially. Meaning you might have an encounter with your own mother-in-law, or somebody's dog bites your foot or something. Whatever the law of attraction is, it's arranged by your cup. I know that's hard to believe, but I'm saying the cups are part of your collective memory. So the collective memory of your mother's father is what we call number 1 son. But his existence is related to not only his mother, the woman that came before, but her mother, her parents, and so on. There's a whole series of these cups. I'm suggesting to you that by becoming aware of them even slightly, you increase your capacity to experience feeling, go through a transformation, be guided, have inspiration, increase your awareness, grow toward authenticity, passion, success, teamwork, sharing, and then the highest light of the year, and 3 grandmothers after that. It's a series of cups. So I hope this basic explanation, which by the way is, I can't comprehend it. It's so vastly beautiful, difficult to explain how sometimes these cups look more like this. Yeah, to me, this is like cups. There are all these different feelings happening all the time. I want to be able to use individual parts of me. I want to be able to feel one part and then the other part by turning up the cup that's sensitive to it. Okay, so I hope this gives you another explanation about how to be able to use the protocol to help you process emotions and feelings and remember the cups. I think you'll enjoy it when you practice. If you're not sure about this crazy idea of cups and feelings, give yourself a gift and practice for about a month, just going, I have the sincere desire to feel. And notice if it makes a difference to you. If it does, well, come on back and ask another question. See you soon.